What's going on, Buff Nation? Welcome back to another video. So Cormani McClain, a little bit of trouble with Coach Prime, little white lie. We'll get into that in just a moment. Then Coach Prime gives Cormani some praise on the progress that he's made thus far, and then just in comparison to Travis Hunter and what the difference is. It's a great take. We'll go over that in just a moment. Before we do, let's talk about what Coach Prime had to say about some of the recruiting struggles that he's having to deal with currently with other coaches and what they're saying about him and what he's planning to do at Colorado for the next few years. Take a listen.
Sitting right now in the season, we drop a few ball games in a row.
Right.
When you're talking to recruits, what do they say about that?
They're not thinking about what transpired. They're thinking about they're the missing piece of the puzzle that can help this transpire. So that's where they are. And the number one thing is, I don't talk about any other coaches or teams or staffs. I don't believe in that. I'm not going to put you down so I can stand up. I've never been that type of player or person in my life. But all these other schools are telling these young men and their families, I'm not going to be here.
Right.
And then, you know, I come at it two different ways. I said, well, that's an honor. They said, what do you mean? They think that we're going to be so successful that I'm going to leave. Right. So they understand what we possess and the potential that we possess. But then that's not true. I say I would be the first to tell you. I think my whole family has an anchor here right now, you know. My mama, the dog, my daughter, everyone.
Yes.
And we absolutely love being here. We actually love it 100%. So
that's where you guys are supposed to applaud and thank Coach Prime.
Yeah. But that's what they use, so I have to address all these type of issues. So that's the number one thing with recruits and their families.
So first order of business, obviously he came out yesterday, had his defense on why he was staying here and kind of pushed the Texas A&M drama, but there was still kind of uncertainty because there was never really a direct question asked. And I feel like this should kind of calm the nerves a little bit of, again, he's doubling down on the fact that, look, we love it here. We have no intention to leave. Family's here. We're locked in, which is what we've been saying on this channel the entire time. Is just, look, the family's here. We're building something special here. Sometimes moving on isn't always the best thing, even though it may be a better opportunity. It may just not be the right time for him in that case scenario as well. But look, dealing with this, I mean, I feel like Coach Prime is always going to be battling these types of issues with other coaches. When you are what Coach Prime is just kind of the limelight. They made a joke earlier in the show. It's like, look, he wakes up, makes breakfast. It's front page news, in which he then says, look, we don't mind it. We love it. It's good for recruiting because everybody's constantly talking about us. Everyone knows who we are. With that good, though, comes some ugly, right? Comes some negative publicity, which is coaches using that advantage to say, hey, that person's not going to be there in a couple of years. But when I heard that, I was like, look, exactly what Coach Prime said. It's an advantage. Say, yeah, they think we're not going to be here because they know we're going to basically whoop that ass, right? So they know that we're going to bring the thunder, we're going to bring the heat, and they're afraid that once we get someone like yourself on this football team, that we will do that, which then we will project ourselves and elevate ourselves, right, into a further career. But right now, here's what we're going to do. Any coach you talk to has the ability to move on, whether it's going to be they get let go because they're not performing or because they move on to something bigger and better because they're succeeding. So if you have another coach doing that, then look, there's a reason why. But the irony is because it's coming shortly after Winston Watkins, the 4-star wide receiver who decommitted, he came out and said, I don't believe that he will no longer be there. Now, if you go take a look at his offers, he's got offers from the likes of Alabama, Texas A&M, Michigan, Ohio State, some big-time schools with some big-time coaches. So get a little head scratcher, like, hey, we point some fingers somewhere of who it could possibly be. I mean, could be a slew of them, who knows? But look, this type of stuff, I mean, it's not, you got to expect it's always going to be a thing. I mean, I've got coaches that are struggling, and I'm sure they go, hey, look, do you want to go play for this team? They're struggling right now. So you're going to always battle with it. But again, Coach Prime is always going to fight this, I would say, story of possibly leaving. But again, it's a compliment because he is a hot topic. He is doing pretty well he is doing well thus far, and people are going to be intrigued by that. So we'll keep an eye on it. But with the Cormani McClain, let me kind of give you a little background story. He was supposed to be on the show, the Coach Talk show at the end of it. And when he first brought up, Coach Prime was like, oh, Lord, please be on time. Please be on time. Well, then it broke out that he wasn't going to make it. Take a listen.
Taking a test?
So the test just snuck up on us today. We had a surprise exam.
You know, it's funny the way you and I think a lot alike, because I asked that
I
same
don't.
question
One
earlier.
thing that I would never do to you all is lie.
just a surprise, right? I love it. Look, I think why I showed this clip, because the clip I'm about to show you, he praises Cormani, and then he talks about just kind of the difference, the mindset of someone like Cormani and a Travis Hunter, because Cormani McClain, again, showed up to Colorado with everything you can imagine. 5-star recruit, top-tier talent, everything. But there's a level of how you get to there's a separation of how you get to the next level. That's going to be hard work. And we've kind of watched this saga of Cormani McClain develop over this entire season of being where it was to what it is now. It definitely feels like he's breaking through and making progress. And I'll kind of elaborate more on this, but just hearing how Coach Prime talks about him and then talks about Travis Hunter and the difference that why he is who he is because of his work ethic. I hope Cormani McClain doesn't feel like, hey, I'm bigger than what I am, and leaves, because Coach Prime is straight up and honest with him, but I think he's trying to humble him and make him better. But take a listen before I go any further on that.
Ask you about Cormani and kind of his development. Would you like to talk about that?
I'm proud of him. He's come a mighty long way.
Right.
I really am proud of him that he can contribute, because he has so much talent and so much ability. But it takes more than talent and ability to contribute and to be who we need you to be, from down to down and down and down, because we're in a situation right now where we can't give up a play here and there, because those plays count, and everything counts right now. Like, some games you could just do this, you could call a trick play, call this, it don't work. Okay, let's go to the next. Yeah. No. All these plays count. Everything is count. It counts. So the kid is coming a long way, but it has to be consistency of growth and understanding and maturity.
When Coach Mathis was out here, we got talking a little bit about this concept, and I asked him, but I'll throw the same thing at you. When you've got a guy that is gifted, and it's real easier for them to default upon that, is that a difficult task of maturation to get them to understand it's about detail, it's about preparation of things? Yeah.
It depends on where he derived from. So when you hear us talking about smart, tough, fast, discipline, we really mean that. Yeah. Just say, for instance, if Travis could get his butt kicked like he did in, what game was that? He played horrible defensively. Stanford. He played horrible. Yeah. He didn't go home for the break. He stayed here and worked on his mechanics.
Wow.
What game we had after Stanford? UCLA, right?
Yeah.
What did he do in the UCLA game?
He balled out.
Balled out.
Yeah.
Because it meant something to him. It mattered to him. So you got to find those.
So the big word of the takeaway here is discipline. I think that's something that Cormani doesn't currently have just embedded in him right now, which isn't a negative thing. He's a young kid, and it will be a negative thing if he can't turn it around, of course, right? But I think that's where Coach Prime is saying he's making that progress. He's starting to have some more accountability to himself and understand that I have to have this discipline. And look, you see a lot of this happen. We don't hear about it too often, but big-time recruits, when they come in, again, they're treated like royalty, right? They get the red carpet rolled out to them. They get told that they're him, and then they show up, and it's a rude awakening because it's a big transition. So they got to get knocked down a peg to understand that, look, I am talented. I have everything that I need, but there still has to be another level that's going to separate me. And that's why I believe Coach Prime is the perfect fit for Cormani to allow him to be successful. Again, hopefully Cormani sees that and trusts that. I believe that he is, for the fact that he is making progress thus far, and he can continue to get praise from Coach Prime on the progress that he's making. The biggest compliment was a few weeks ago. The coach said that, look, after they lost the drill, he ran with his team when a few weeks ago he wasn't doing that. That goes back to discipline and accountability, right? Of holding yourself to that discipline of like, hey, we lost. I need to go do this. Whether somebody is watching or not, how do you respond? And again, the example of Travis Hunter, of, hey, I struggled. I'm going to stay and I'm going to work, right? Most everybody left. Well, how do I separate myself to be the one that everybody's talking about so I can play on both sides of the ball, post almost 80% of the snaps, and be effective? You stay during the break, and that's the difference. But be sure to smash the like button, boys and girls. Let me know your thoughts about the Cormani McClain situation and the recruiting saga going on. I'll always love to hear you guys' opinions about everything. So smash the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.